So as promised from last week, we are looking at ways of treating hand numbness, specifically with Olympic lifting. This video is going to go over the first one I mentioned, which was whole hand numbness. If you recall that was more that snatch position where you're trying to really extend your arm, lock that out, and pull the head forward for balance purposes. That turns on the scalenes, and that will compress some of the nerves going through the arm. So two ways to get into that. The first one you probably have seen on social media, which is soft tissue. Now, I've seen plenty of videos that talk about jamming on a crossball in there or even a Theracane. Don't do that. Those nerves are very sensitive and they're very superficial, so you can cause significant problems with your nerves if you do that. But you can be gentle and get into the same area. So the way that you would do some massage on that is first identify the scalenes. So if you turn your head sideways, this muscle kicks out. That is sternocleidomastoid. Don't worry, you won't be tested later, but right behind it is the scalenes. So you just get in there, turn back just a little bit, and those muscles are now underneath your fingers, and the sternocleidomastoid has been moved out of the way. You're just going to knead up and start to find little tender spots within that little band that you feel running this way. There's one slightly behind it and slightly in front of it. You can work back and forth in those areas till you find some tender spots. Now, key thing with this is if you're on a tender spot, sometimes that will refer a discomfort down the arm. That is very different than that buzzing sensation that typically is associated with the numbness in the hand. If you start pressing and start getting a buzzing going on in the hand, you're probably pressing on the nerve. Move to a different site. So that is one way you can get in the scalene. Another way is more of a stretch. So just taking one of these voodoo type bands or a similar elastic band, come over the top of your shoulder, get it in nice and close to the neck, and just pull it down. That is, in theory, pulling your first rib down and the ribs underneath it. And from here, you're just gonna tuck your head back a little bit. You're gonna tilt it over to the side a tad and then rotate it a little bit. And you'll really feel that kick on a stretch. From here, you can do a little isometric hold, relax, or contract, relax. So if I hold, as if I'm trying to rotate my head, but don't let it move in isometric fashion, and then relax, I can usually get a little bit more out of there. I can go the opposite side too, and then relax and get a little bit more out of there. And those, really just pick whichever one you seem to respond to most. So there you have it for the first type of numbness, that whole hand numbness, get into that snatch position or overhead squat position. That can be alleviated with a little bit of soft tissue in the neck or with doing a simple scalene stretch. If that doesn't do it for you, please feel free to reach out to athleteprx.com at our website, or you can go ahead and give us a call. Either way, our goal is always to help you move more and hurt less. Thanks, guys. Talk to you next time.